All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Thank you guys for joining us for Community on Call. Today, we are continuing our tradition of talking to folks who are able and in a place to give grants for small businesses, particularly impacted by COVID-19. And today I have, and really excited about this, have Ken McFayden with me. He's the director of the Botetourt County Economic Development office and a great partner of mine, and highly supports small business development and growth in Botetourt. And we're so pleased to have him as a partner. And folks, those of you guys who are in Botetourt and own businesses, you are so lucky. Botetourt cares so much about you that you have your own dedicated advisor through the Small Business Development Center. And so we're crazy excited about that. That's fairly new, and we love working with all of you, and hope that you're joining us today to hear from Ken directly. So Ken, let's talk about this grant program that you all have funds from the federal government around the CARES Coronavirus Relief Fund. And you've been tasked with figuring out how to make that money available through grants to benefit small businesses in Botetourt. And I think the program, correct me if I'm wrong, the name of it is the COVID-19 Small Business Incentive Grant Program. Did I get that right?
You did. And thanks for having me today, Amanda. Appreciate the opportunity. And yes, you are correct. That's the name of the
Okay.
program.
Perfect. So let's just talk about what it is and how people can apply for the funds. First and foremost, we know that we want it to benefit small businesses who have been impacted by COVID-19. So tell me a little bit more about that. Who exactly is eligible to apply?
Sure. Well, and I think I first need to say that when all of this unraveled with the pandemic and the economy slowdown in March, that we were all stunned by how rapidly our economy took a pause, if you will, and we have been very cognizant and aware and sensitive to the impact that it's had upon our businesses. Botetourt County, we have over 800 business entities in the county. Most of those, 90% of those, employ 20 or fewer workers. So Botetourt County's economy in terms of jobs is very much a small business economy. The county's done very well historically with attracting large manufacturers and employers. And those are primary employers. They bring in dollars to the community, and then it's our small businesses that keep the dollars circulating within our community instead of leaking out what's academically, if you will, called retail leakage, leaking out to other areas. So we're very sensitive to our small business economy in Botetourt. But back to your question on the COVID-19 Small Business Incentive Grant Program, we have focused this program on our small businesses, and specifically those who are sole proprietors or self-employed, one-person operations, up to 2, 3, 5 employees, and then also acknowledging that our small businesses can also be considered 100 or fewer workers. But we know that we're hitting an area with this grant program that it's affecting and benefiting businesses that employ 2, 3, 4, 5 people. That's really been the bulk of the applications. We've had a few that have had 25 employees, and those are still considered small businesses. So we're really looking for businesses that are based and have their primary business office in Botetourt County. We're looking for those who have, other than sole proprietorships, those who have incorporated with the Virginia State Corporations Commission, those who have established themselves as a business in Botetourt by having a business license, paying their taxes, they're in zoning compliance, and then they also need to show some impact from this pandemic. And we know that our retail, restaurants, and personal services businesses have been most impacted, but all businesses have been impacted. We've had a few consultants who work nationally to contact us and talk about the impacts that they've suffered from this situation as well. And so they're eligible as well. Those businesses that can show an impact, either by a closure required by the Commonwealth or voluntary, or those who have documented business losses with either revenue loss or expenses. Food spoilage is one of those expenses that we're acknowledging as something to determine eligibility. So we've tried to make it as broad as possible, but then also be very specific and focused on our small business community in Botetourt.
That is fantastic. And just based on what you've said, obviously we can't say all businesses can apply, but for the most part, you all have really looked at the gamut of impact and made it very accessible for most small businesses to be able to apply for this. We know that everyone's had some sort of impact. So that's incredible. And I guess from my perspective at the Small Business Development Center, I just want to encourage all of the Botetourt businesses to apply for this. Worst case scenario, you don't have impact that you thought maybe you had, or obviously we don't want people to finagle the system, but everyone should be encouraged to apply. I know we talk to a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm not sure I should apply. And we really want everyone to. So I thank you for outlining that. I think that helps people understand, oh, I fit in that category. So
we really have tried to make the application as user-friendly as possible. Government does involve bureaucracy from time to time. I hate to break the news, but we've tried to make this application as unbureaucratic as possible, while at the same time maintaining the accountability that we have to the U.S. Treasury Department and to the Commonwealth of Virginia for having received these CARES relief dollars.
That's right. That's important. That's a great point to point out. It's important for folks to know that there is an application process and there are things that have to be tracked in order to get this money. So we all have to have grace and patience. But I will say that I've seen the application. You shared it with me. We walked through it, and it's incredibly easy to walk through and fill out what you know. And I will say there's a couple of things on there. We know that as business owners, you guys are great technicians at what you do. You don't always know the business terms, right? And you're not expected to. That's one of the reasons we are here for you to do that. But if you run across something that you don't understand, in some cases you can leave it blank on the application, but in other cases, reach out and ask those questions. It's okay. Every question's okay, and you may not understand one of the questions. However, I will say, looking at it, you guys are in good hands, and I think it's going to be a super simple application for you to fill out.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So they're eligible and they apply. How much is available to them?
Sure. So an operation of 1 to 2 people, that's a $2,500 grant. 3 to 5 individuals is $3,500, and 6 or more employees in an organization would be $5,000. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a terrible amount of money per business, but it's intended to not only offset some of the losses that businesses have experienced, but also lend to helping these businesses to become resilient in seeking specific services that maybe they've now encountered, that they need legal advice to adjust to something that they had never thought would occur prior to the pandemic. They may need to renegotiate a lease agreement. They may need some other sort of legal protection for their business. Accounting, oftentimes businesses fail as a result of cash flow issues. But if we can connect our businesses with accountants to work on their books, to either set them up properly or to address cash flow or balance statements or debt or however, that is really the intent for this grant. So $2,500 can go a long way working with an attorney or with an accountant. We've also included a provision for marketing and advertising, computer hardware. Some businesses have encountered that for them to survive, they've got to go online and they've got to have the technology. So we're allowing up to $1,500 per grant to be used for technology purchases for the business. Marketing and advertising. Our Botetourt Chamber of Commerce is still a very important player in this community, I think now more than ever. Because what we've lost over the last 3 to 4 months are these human connections and the opportunities to connect and to network with one another. And our Chamber of Commerce is another important outlet for that. And so we're allowing folks to either take new memberships in the Botetourt Chamber or to pay the dues that they have now been faced with not being able to pay. So that's another attribute to this. So general marketing, they can pay their business license tax with the grant funds. as another way of helping businesses bridge the gap during this difficult time. So there too, we've tried to be broad thinking in what the funds can be applied to, but then also focusing on those expenditures that will help the business to become resilient and to move forward in this new economy. You know, every 10 years, economists and economic developers say we're in a new economy, and that's true. But we certainly have entered into a new economy now.
That's right. That's right. I love that you all have focused on that resiliency part. You know, there've been a lot of other programs, the Paycheck Protection Program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program through the SBA, that is helping businesses kind of bridge that gap of expenses that they can't pay right now, whether it's for employees or utilities, rent, those type of things. And guys, if you're listening and you have not taken advantage of those, the Paycheck Protection Program has been extended, and we can hook you up and help you get that program going for you, as well as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan is still going. So we can help with that. But I love that Ken Botetourt is using these funds for people to use towards things that are of more resiliency related orientation. And they're things that a lot of times small businesses particularly just don't have money to spend on, but yet it's critical. It really is critical. So I hope that everyone will think about that and take advantage of it. And if you need help, there's a process in place to help you figure out how to use those funds. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But thank you for taking that into consideration. I think it's incredibly helpful, particularly for our small businesses, to have access to those types of things. So we talked about what you can do with the money, which I love. And I want to add one thing to that I know you and I've talked a lot about. A lot of small businesses don't have a website, right? And like you said, not only do they need technology to be online, but they also might need just a website, like a one-pager or something that's not incredibly complicated. And I know that the grants would cover that. And the grant amount is enough to do that, especially with some of our folks helping other small businesses in Botetourt, right? Like we have accountants and attorneys and marketing folks in Botetourt that you can spend your money with. So that's going to be an important piece of that.
Yeah, we're not requiring that folks work with attorneys or accountants or marketing folks who are based or lived in Botetourt. That's certainly a preference, but we understand that our economy is also regional. But right, we have the people here who do these sorts of things and can help our businesses. And another important aspect of asking folks to work with attorneys, accountants, marketing firms, and so forth, and helping to pay for the initial relationship, maybe that relationship will continue. Then once someone works with an accountant and gets their books set up properly, or really takes a look and understands and manages the cash flow, hopefully then that relationship will continue, and then that too will help that business to survive and become resilient moving forward, even after we say that we get back to the normal that we're all wondering what will be
That's right.
in the near future.
And that is the small business economy. That's what I love about it. So I love it. You don't have to spend your money with a Botetourt-based business. Although if you want to, we can help connect you with those resources. I know that we have a listing and folks that you all have worked specifically with, and we'd be glad to help with that. So this is such a good program. What has the response rate been so far?
We have received about 60 applications so far, and it's been live going on to approaching 3 weeks. And so that is promising. We will be contacting every Botetourt County business license holder who is based in Botetourt County with a Botetourt County mailing address, informing them of the program, providing them with our small business development brochure that we've had for the last few years, and encouraging them to apply for this program. We want to make sure that every eligible business that we're aware of, at least, will be aware that this program is available. We don't want to assume that everybody canvasses social media or reads our local paper, although they should. We want to make sure that everybody's aware of it. We are asking applicants to file their application by September 30th of this year. The CARES relief dollars must be expended, must be spent by December 30th of this year. So we are going to need that window of October, November, December to close out all of our grants that we've awarded between June the 23rd and September 30th. So that's another important piece. We won't be able to help folks who may come along in October, November, December. So we really need folks to apply by September 30th.
Okay, so September 30th, get that. Heck, don't even write that in your calendar. Do it this week. Apply now, right? The sooner the better. Apply. I do want to stop for a moment. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Ken. I know that we have businesses that honestly, they might not have a laptop at hand, or they don't use the computer that often. At the Small Business Development Center, we certainly want to offer you the opportunity. We'll be glad to fill it out with you. We'll be glad to use our technology, get you on the phone with us. We could come out to Botetourt and find a way to help you apply for this. So don't let that hold you back. Most likely, if you're seeing this video, you probably have access to the technology. But we do, for those of you guys who might know of other business owners who are watching this, who doesn't have access or might not understand this or be able to apply easily, please let them know that we are a resource. We'll make sure that that's in the post so that you guys can get to us. We want to make sure you apply, and we'd be glad to do that for you, with you at our hand, giving us the information. So want to be able to offer that.
That's a very good point, Amanda. We're not interested in having any barriers to folks applying. You'll fill out an application for someone, we'll do that. Our area banks, our local banks, Bank of Botetourt, Bank of Fincastle, First Citizens, others. I know I'm going to be missing some of our banks, and I apologize for that. They have also offered to help folks with their applications.
Fantastic.
So that's important. That's a very important
fantastic.
point.
And we're getting ready to do a live event where we help folks with applying for all types of funding available. We're organizing that right now. So if that is able to come to Botetourt, I know that we're working with Bank of Botetourt some on that. We'll make sure that everyone knows about that. And we'll be live, like literally in person, doing that with people that need that help. Okay, so they apply through an application. Where can they find this application?
Sure. We have it online, and I have the web address. It is web.botetourtva.gov/econdev, ECONDEV /. So we can maybe with this interview, we can post that link
Absolutely.
for folks, and we have posted it on our social media. It is on our website. I would imagine with the response that we've had so far, folks are easily finding the application website, but at the same time, we need to more broadly cast this web address. So thank you for asking for that.
Absolutely. We'll make sure that when we post this, that you all have access to that link. It'll be the link that we share, as well as we'll make sure you know about that September 30th deadline, although we wanted to put in your calendars now. Don't wait till September, but we'll make sure that that's in there so that you have it. So let's say they apply, they've submitted their application online, or someone has assisted them with getting that application in. What does the process look like from there? What can they expect?
Sure. So then economic development staff will then evaluate the applications. We will determine eligibility. We'll go through the guidelines that have been approved by the Board of Supervisors for this program. We'll confirm that a business is based and operates in Botetourt County, that they are in good standing with the Commissioner of Revenue, County Treasurer, they're in zoning compliance, those sorts of requirements that we have in place. It is very important that a business was in operation by February the 29th of 2020 and continued operations through March the 12th when Governor Northam declared the state of emergency for the pandemic. So we really need to focus on businesses. This is another important point. Focus on businesses that were in operation before this pandemic started. Right. We really are not in a position to say that it's a COVID impact if somebody started their business in April and then didn't have the response that they had hoped for their business. That's not necessarily a COVID impact because the business started after the state of emergency. So that's another important point. So what county staff, we're going through and making sure that applications are eligible for the program. Once we determine that, we are then forwarding these applications to you at the Small Business Development Center, and our small business partners in the region, to go through what we hope would be a very brief small business counseling session. We'll then identify the amount of the grant that the business is eligible for, either the $2,500, $3,500, or $5,000 grant. And then you all will meet, and do what you do best and provide small business development counseling and identify the appropriate uses of those funds. As we talked about earlier, up to $1,500 of any grant can be used for technology purchases, and up to 1/4 of any grant can be used for business losses, sunk costs, food spoilage, revenue loss, things of that nature. And then the other services that we've talked about, the legal, accounting, and marketing and advertising services. So then you all very, very succinctly lay out a game plan for the use of the funds. Then you would give us a recommendation back that a particular business has identified this plan and that their proposed expenditures fit with the program. Then that recommendation will be presented to a committee of the Economic Development Authority that will then evaluate those recommendations and confirm eligibility and approve a grant. And then we'll have a grant agreement that our attorney for the Economic Development Authority has prepared. Again, we have to be a little bureaucratic, but hopefully we're being efficient about it, and then get folks underway, and they can either receive a check for what they've already spent from March 12th forward on eligible expenditures, or they can then plan to then go out and secure those services that they need to become resilient moving forward. So again, hoping that it's a very smooth, efficient process.
How long there are some variables in there, but like how long can someone expect to wait to receive a response and then to have the money in their hands?
Exactly. So that's a great question. The Board of Supervisors approved this program on June 23rd. The Economic Development Authority meets this Friday, July the 10th, to appoint the committee and authorize the committee to review applications and approve expenditures. And then the committee will then be approving applications on a rolling basis. So we may expect them to meet weekly, bi-weekly. I would suspect after we get this first round of applications confirmed and through the approval process, it's going to go very quickly. So somebody should expect probably a 2 to 3 week turnaround.
Perfect. That's fantastic. And I want, there are lots of partners that can help you kind of walk through this. The Small Business Development Center is one of those, and we are great thinking partners. So don't feel like you're going to go meet with someone and they're going to tell you what to do with your money. You're going to come with those ideas and we can think through them and just make sure that, all the cards are on the table so that you're making really good decisions and what's going to best impact your business, particularly for resiliency, right? Like you mentioned, Ken. So that should be a fun process. Don't be afraid of that. It's going to be fun. We're going to have fun with it, and we're going to make sure that you get what you need, and that we kind of explore all of those options. So I know we're excited to do that. SCORE is another partner, as well as the Advancement Foundation, and we're all like standing by and ready to help you guys. So please don't let that portion of this hold you back from doing it. And the sooner you apply, right, the sooner that we can get in contact with you and have those conversations and get this money in your hands. I know that that's important. And the faster you can use it, the better. So we will do our part to make that happen. And I know, Ken, you guys at Botetourt are doing your piece too. Thank you for walking us through that process.
Absolutely. So let me predict that those who have already applied and who we are deeming to be eligible to receive the grant, they should be underway and running by the end of this calendar month, by the end of July. They really should be.
That's great. So that's, I'm not sure how many out of the 60 applications will be eligible, but that's a lot. That's a lot going on this month. And so thank you You know, another piece of grace that I always have for people is everyone's doing all this extra work with not extra staff or time, right? We're all doing that. So thank you for shifting priorities. That's really what has to happen here to make this happen for folks, and make these grants available to them. I am really excited about this program and thankful that we were able to get involved early on, and you shared the information with us, and encouraging certainly our existing clients, but also those of you who have not met with the Small Business Development Center really want to just have you apply for this. It's a great opportunity to use money that, especially right now, you otherwise would not be spending on these types of services that honestly are going to be critical for you to go forward and for the resiliency of your business. So again, we'll wrap it up because we want to keep it short for folks. What else do you want to add, Ken?
I would just say that the Botetourt County Board of Supervisors, County Administration, the Economic Development Authority, your economic development staff, all of your county employees, we're all economic developers. We're helping this community to grow and to prosper. And so we get small business development, and we understand that the best thing we can do for small business development is to rely upon our expert partners, the Small Business Development Center and others, to work with our businesses and get them what they need. And I'm stealing a line that I think you just said, to help our businesses get what they need to become prosperous and to move forward.
That's right. I personally thank you for that. I'm a small business champion, and every time I get to work with a jurisdiction that has such a small business heart, it makes my soul sing, and it makes my job much more rewarding, and happy and excited for the businesses in Botetourt to have this opportunity and for it to be so well thought out. So thank you for that. We will share this video. We'll share the link to the application. Ken, if folks have questions, I'd like to encourage first and foremost you leave them right here on the post, and we'll be watching that and answering them for you. And if you'd rather do that privately, you can reach out in a message on Facebook, is where this will be posted.
Okay.
As well as shared in other avenues. But if they want more of a private conversation, who should they contact with questions?
They can contact me, and the office number is 928-2140, or my direct office line is 928-2145. They can send us an email to economicdevelopment@botetourtva.gov as well. If for whatever reason we've got a communication barrier, please call county administration offices and ask to speak with economic development. Go to our social media page as well, Botetourt Economic Development, Botetourt County Economic Development, to your social media page, and your contact information. Connecting with the county through Heather is perfectly acceptable and encouraged as well. So hopefully we've got the communication channels out there so that if somebody really does need to talk with us, they should be able to do so without any frustration. That's our hope.
And I do know, I'm not sure about all the languages, but I do know that if you are a Spanish speaker and you need assistance with the application because it's in English, I know that we have resources we can connect you to, and you do as well, Ken. So please reach out and don't let that be a reason that you don't apply. I have lived in another country. I lived in El Salvador for 3 years, and while I learned to speak fluently while I was there, if you put business language in front of me, there would have been no way I could have filled out an application. So I completely understand and want you guys to know that we have those services. So if you know of a business that is in that situation, please encourage them to apply and get in touch with someone to help them. We would love
that. Is a very good point. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. So I think I have all the information we need. Ken mentioned Heather. If you guys in Botetourt probably already know her, but it's Heather Fay. She is your Botetourt advisor and guru here at the Small Business Development Center. And so we'll provide that information too. You can reach out to her, me, anybody. We're all here for everybody. But Heather is highly focused on Botetourt and want you guys to be able to utilize that resource. So we'll end on that. Ken, I'll make sure that everyone gets what they need in this post. Thank you so much for spending your time with me to talk about this for our businesses. And for sure, we will be in touch. We're in touch often.
Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate the partnership. Truly do.
Absolutely. We do as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Recording done.